I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Scott Knutson. I'm with Signature Home Inspection. We do home inspections in Southern California. We cover Northern San Diego County, Orange County, Southern LA County, San Bernardino, Riverside. We do home inspections. We've been doing home inspections for, I think, 19 years now. So we do home inspections, sewer inspections, mold inspections, new construction inspections. So we're going to go over some of that stuff here with the new homes, a closer look. If you have any questions, I will give you my contact information at the end. Again, my name is Scott Knutson. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. If you also want to ask questions via chat, feel free to do that. I'm going to answer those at the end if possible, because it does seem to be a distraction at the end or when I'm doing the presentation. So bear with me on that one. So, all right, so let's go ahead and get started. So the title of this class is New Homes, a Closer Look, Valuable Information for the Real Estate Agent. So the outline that we're going to go over is what's new in homes. We're finding new stuff all the time. So this presentation, I need to update it with some of the newer stuff. For example, the other day we saw a microwave that had, you could basically watch Netflix and YouTube and everything on the microwave. It's the first time one of my inspectors had ever seen one before. And it took him a little while to figure out how to get it to operate, just because it was so high tech. And at first I was thinking, I don't know if I'd want one of those. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe I would, because it would be something that, when I'm drinking my coffee, I could watch YouTube in the morning. So YouTube TV. So, but with this one, we're going to stick to just the main parts of the house as far as the construction goes. Part two of this, we're going to go over typical problem areas. The common problems with new homes are different than those found in resale homes. What are the common problems in homes? We're going to go over that. And then part three would be the inspection of the new homes, what we're looking for as far as the inspection goes. So part one, with the people around you. And again, this is a class that we typically will teach in person. So with that, we wouldn't be able to do this in class stuff, but typically we'd have you discuss issues you're coming across when listing a new home, issues with a client when considering a new home. Were there any of these deal breakers? So a lot of stuff that we're seeing right now on construction of new homes is when we get out there, they're not ready. There was a miscommunication. The builder still got workers in there painting. It's not very beneficial to have a new home inspection on a home that's not ready. So there's been times where we've gotten out there and, it's not even complete. The gas meter hasn't been installed. They're still doing painting. Carpet hasn't been laid. So I think the main thing with this is when you're doing a new home inspection is to communicate with the builder to make sure that they're ready to go. Issues with client when considering a new home, and then were any deal breakers. So we're going to go through all that. New home buyers are seeing some new elements in the home. Here are a few of the most visible and notable that we typically will see. Truss joists will replace solid wood joists. So I'm going to show you some pictures here after this slide on what a truss joist looks like and what a solid wood joist looks like. Plastic water supply piping becoming more common. Typically, copper was the standard. Now you're seeing a lot more PEX. Arc fault circuit interrupters and expanded use of GFCIs, and then also more efficient HVAC systems. So on the truss joist replaces solid wood. So truss joists have been around for a long time. They will become more common as standard dimensional lumber gets harder to find, more expensive to process and transport. For example, right now, lumber prices have gone out. They're just ridiculous as how much they're costing. I'm assuming a lot of that's due to the pandemic. A lot of our lumber comes from Canada. They've had some shutdowns. I've got a friend that works for Lennar up in Salt Lake City, and he says their biggest problem right now is they just cannot find the material or get the material. For example, beams. He goes, we just can't get the beams, so we can't complete the home. And so that's why there's a backlog of new construction as well. Let's see here, dimensional lumber. So wood members cut from trees. So if you look up here above this foundation wall here, it's going to be the solid wood. This is going to be like a 2x10. So this is solid wood. So with this type of wood, the floor joists need large trees, 2x10s, for example. So a lot of construction nowadays is going away from that, and it's going more to the truss joists. So if you've ever seen that these are considered truss joists. And the reason why they're going more to this is because the wood fiber is placed only where needed. So an I-shaped profile. Uses small, fast growth trees, uses less wood fiber, 50% less, environmentally friendly. So those are some of the benefits of the truss joists over the dimensional. Here's some examples of some trusses and beams that are made out of that material. This one would be like for flooring. These would be some beams that are going to go over some wide openings. Longer clear span. So I know some of this might be technical. We won't get into too much detail of it, but it will kind of give you an idea of the different types of the wood that you're dealing with on new home construction. So a lot of custom homes now have the open concept. And with that, truss joists can clear span long distances. So it's possible to eliminate the need for a main beam at mid span. So with those truss joists, you can go a little, it's more open concept without having to have supporting walls and beams. Truss joists and growing pains. So over time, when they first started using the truss joists, the floors would seem bouncy to some. So I don't know if you've ever been in some homes, say for example, in the 1990s, you get up on the second floor and you feel a little bit of a bounce on it. That's what was happening. Was they've got the long clear spans, the vibration transfer. You had different bounce and vibration characteristics compared to dimensional lumber. The floor is evaluated with no furniture load. So, once you put, say for example, a couch or a grand piano, it eliminates a lot of that bounciness. Long clear spans, allowable deflection is a percentage of span. So longer spans mean greater deflections. So again, this is where I was saying you don't need to get so technical on this, but if you have an L360 versus an L480, example, a span is 15 feet, an L360 gives a deflection or movement of a half an inch. An L480 gives a deflection of 3/8 of an inch. So as you can see, you have the higher percentage of span. You've got the it doesn't move as much. Older truss joist installations were bouncy, so matched deflection and strength of dimensional lumber was an L360, left a perception of a bouncy floor. So many builders now use a much higher level for stiffness, so they typically use an L480 or greater, so it feels less bouncy. So buyer tip when it comes to this type of stuff, the home buyer or the realtor may want to ask the builder for details on the floor design. The builder can cut costs by using less stiff floor structure still within building code. So they will tend to do that if they can. Stiffer floor costs more but feels better. So what's the deflection design criteria used for the floor design? So these are questions that you'd want to ask, such as an L360 or an L480. Like we talked about earlier, the L480 is going to be a better floor and it's not going to have as much movement. The second thing that we're seeing in these new homes, and I don't even want to say it was really new because they're using this more and more because copper is more expensive now. So most of it now that we see new home construction is going to be PEX. So we're going to talk about the interior water supply piping. Copper has been the standard for quality for many years. Early plastic pipe was a problem, so this is polybutylene. Polybutylene is typically that gray looking plastic piping, and it'll say on the piping polybutylene. If you see that, there's typically problems with it. There's been a recall. since I've been doing inspections in Southern California, I've only seen it a couple times, and it was in northern San Diego County. And it was kind of a shock to me when I saw it, because we just don't see it out here like we would in, say Salt Lake City or in other states. So I specifically remember I was leaving, I was coming back down of an attic, and out of the corner of my eye, I caught some gray polybutylene piping. I'm like, wow, I was kind of shocked that I actually saw it. So, because we just don't see it that much out here. Current plastic pipe does not have the problems of poly B. So that's what they call it, poly B. Why plastic pipe? Well, one, it's quick to install. Fewer joints. You can have long rolls of pipe, and then the pipe is pulled through the house. So it's kind of like electrical wiring. You don't actually have to run it like copper piping. You can have multiple parallel runs rather than the series/tree type structure. Better water flow characteristics, and less pressure drop within multiple fixture operations. So for example, when we're doing an inspection, we're typically in the bathroom, and we're going to operate all the fixtures in that bathroom at the same time. And with the less pressure drop with multiple fixture operations, we see that happen with the plastic PEX. This is just a picture of what the old copper soldering would look like, just kind of giving an FYI. These are the different types of piping that's used in houses today. I'm not going to go through all the listing, but you can see the copper here. You can see the PEX. These are more for the plumbing fixtures and so forth. Quality plastic used today. So you've got PEX, which is cross-linked polyethylene. It's not a new system. So a lot of times people say, oh, it's new, it's within the last 10 years. It's actually been used in Europe for many years for supply plumbing and radiant heating applications. It's a high quality system, and it typically has a long lifespan. The next thing that we commonly will see more and more in new construction is AFCI and GFCI. I'm probably, if you've been doing this for a while, you probably already know what a GFCI is. If anybody ever mentions GFCI, basically it's a ground fault circuit interrupter. That's what it stands for. It helps to prevent serious electrocution. It's not new, but newly expanded use. So today in homes, typically we're going to see this in the kitchen. We're going to see it in the laundry room. We're going to see it in the garage, the exterior, and we're even seeing it now. I already said laundry, so we're even seeing it now in laundry. So those are where we see these GFCIs at. And typically they're required within 6 feet of a water source. And they can also have resets in different areas. So for example, sometimes the garage and the exterior are going to be connected on one reset. Then you will have typically the bathrooms will be all connected, and then the kitchen will typically be on its own. And it can be various, I mean, we've seen it to where all of them are in, there's a reset in the panel. So there's been times where I've popped these and it's taken me, 30 minutes to go find the reset, just because not all homes are going to be the same. But with the newer construction, it's pretty consistent now. This is just a picture of the AFCI. You have to be really careful with this type of stuff. And the reason what happens with this is when you put a picture hook in, and if there's not a plate here that's protecting it, when that nail gets nailed in there and hits that wire, it'll actually flip the breaker. AFCIs are currently used only for bedroom circuits in homes, not required in all areas of the home because of the high cost of these breakers. I've seen these breakers cost, starting out at $50 a breaker. So they're not cheap. However, over time, more areas of the home will require AFC protection based on electrical code. So we're going to see these more and more. And I think there was a picture at the beginning. It'll come up at the end here. Nope, it's actually, you're going to see these, and typically there will be a blue or a red little breaker right there, a little switch. Efficient air conditioning. We get this question a lot. What's the SEER rating? So basically SEER stands for Seasonal Energy Efficiency Ratio. As of 2006, there are new minimum efficiency requirements. And these tend to get more strict every year. So we're going to be seeing more and more of these. So air conditioning, new systems are at least 30% more efficient than systems from just a few years ago. The minimum SEER is 13 as of 2006. Energy Star rating minimum SEER is 14. Prior to 87, typical SEER was 7 or 8. And then from 87 to 2006, minimum was 10. So you can see how it's changed over the years. Some today are over SEER 17 and up to 21. So they continue to go up. And so basically, again, like I was saying earlier, it's just the efficiency of the unit. We get that question a lot as home inspectors. A lot of people ask us, what's the SEER rating? Inspectors don't typically calculate that during a home inspection, but sometimes on the data plate, you can pull that information. You can get the information, and then there's a website that you can go to, and that'll give you the SEER information. Or the builder should have that readily available. Also, we have high efficiency furnaces now. They're not new, but costs are down and reliability of them are up. In the past, the benefit was marginal. So people would spend a lot of money on these high efficiency furnaces, but the high efficiency furnaces were only 12 to 15% more efficient than the mid efficiency, but cost 40% more to purchase, more repairs and a shorter life cycle. But as the furnaces have gotten newer and better build quality, we're getting better efficiency out of them, and they're not as expensive. So that's it on the high efficiency furnaces and the SEERs of the AC units. Part 2 of this, we're going to go over common problem areas in new homes. So these are common areas that we're going to see when we're doing inspections on a new home. As you all know, it's no surprise to this group that there is no such thing as a perfect home, even on a new home. So we get that question a lot from people that call us in, do I really need an inspection on a new construction? I would say yes. Of course, we're not going to find as many things, but some of the items that we find can be pretty significant. I've gone into multi-million-dollar homes where I've stuck, I went through the house, everything was fine. I didn't see any major issues. I go up in the attic and there's no insulation. They forgot. They didn't blow it in there. Now that will probably be taken care of later, but who's to say that you don't realize that until after your 1-year warranty's gone, and then you've always wondered, why is my house so hot? Why is it not cooling during the wintertime? Or why is it not heating up during the wintertime? You want to find that out before. So like I said, I've seen it. I've seen things that have not done properly. And I'm going to go through some pictures of some of the stuff that we've seen. New homes are the same. It's just that the problems are different. So problem areas, the most common problem is incomplete work. We'll get to a home and, for example, we'll go up on a roof and they didn't do the flashings, or they didn't install the gutters, or, whatever it is. There's a lot of stuff where we find that the incomplete work is the most problem. We'll also see stuff that's been damaged, like tile that's broken, doorknobs that are loose. We'll see stuff that they're missing. We also see a lot of imperfect workmanship. So, for example, right now, they're building a lot of construction. They're meeting tight deadlines. And when you have that, you have, when you're going too fast, you're going to have poor workmanship. So keep that in mind when we come across this stuff. So, for example, let's look at some examples of common issues with new homes, including interior and exterior finishes, grading issues, roofing issues, insulation and ducting issues, and then also some structural issues that we see. I've got my screensaver up today. I usually don't use it because I've got a lot of construction going on in my house. So I felt like I'd spare you of seeing all the stuff behind me. All right, so we're going to go through this items here, interior and exterior. Tile and floor damage is a common defect where we'll go around and we'll see cracked tiles in bathrooms, kitchens, around the corners. maybe minor repair, or it could be a major issue. So maybe caused by floor framing issues, subfloor issues, inadequate mortar thickness for the tile type, inadequate floor stiffness for the tile type, sloppy tile or grout work. I've seen a lot of sloppy work out there. I've gone into new construction homes in, say, for example, Balboa Island, and it's a multi-million-dollar home. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, why would they do this? You know, like, why are they using this cheap flooring? You know, it's like I would be livid if I was buying a multi-million-dollar house and I'm looking at cheap vinyl flooring. That's just, I mean, it's just, it looks cheap, and you know, you'll see it all the time. But I also can go into a house and I'll say, wow, they did a really good job here. So it's kind of both. We'll see it both, you know, good and bad quality. Tile and grout damage is very common. So here, where you've got the grout, keep in mind, grout will, as it dries, it will shrink. And so nowadays, they typically will use a grout that will, it's got a little bit of flexibility in it to where when it does shrink, it's not going to crack like this. This would be tile floor, where you meet the tile to the wood flooring. And it's just, you know, a lot of times people don't typically will see that unless they're really paying attention to it. Water leaks are a common issue in new homes. You have improper caulking or grout around bathtubs or you know, faucets, around showers, around kitchen sinks and so forth. Missing or sloppy flashing. Sometimes on the outside where the roof is, we'll see kickout flashings that were missed or weren't installed properly. Foundation shrinkage cracks. We'll see a lot of that sometimes. On here, this was basically a plumbing pipe that had started to leak. This was down in a basement. We don't have a lot of basements down here, but this picture was sent to me from another inspector up in Salt Lake City. But you can see here how they were having some plumbing issues down in the basement before they finished it. Siding, we see this quite a bit. Poor siding installation is common. New home defect, buckling and bowing of siding material, improper attachment, wood siding too close to the roof. You know, typically you'll see wood siding where it's right up against the tile on a roof. You've got to have a 1-inch clearance. It can't be touching the roof. And then also we see a lot of poor flashing like we mentioned earlier. This is just some composite siding where you can see the nails are starting to pop out. Or you know, or set too deep. You know, buying a new home, this would drive me crazy. I would say, what is going on? You know, this should not be happening. Grading, we see a lot of issues with grading. This, of course, is just going to be a foundation of a basement. They don't leave it like this, but just kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like before they backfill. This would be, again, another basement to where you see here where the backfill has settled. They didn't impact, you know, they didn't compact it enough. And you can see here where they've got a downspout. So again, I know that when home inspectors come out and you see this, I bet I wouldn't say every report, but most of our reports are going to have a downspout extensions as a comment. And the reason why is because if you don't pull the water away from it properly, which here they've got a kick, you know, they got a block here, but it's not lined up properly. So this water over time is just coming around here and it's settled all this area back in this area. And I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't leaking on the inside as well. So grading issues, downspouts, gutters are always important. Here you can see the soil is up against the brick. Ideally, we like to see 3 to 6 inches clearance from the brick or stucco. We see a lot of stucco down here. That way you're not having subtrading termites coming up through there. You're not having this moist wood, if it rains, rot out your bottom plate. So, you know, typically we like to see 3 to 6 inches. There are times where we come out and the contractor or the landscape contractors have come out and they've gone in and put dirt, you know, 6 inches above. You know, we see that a lot. So some common roofing issues, not using the proper nailing. This is a new home where the shingles have popped back from a windstorm. Shouldn't be doing this. This is poor installation. Here you've got some missing flashing. You know, moisture can get in there, rodents, you know, just basically just poor quality. They just didn't do a good job. And this is areas that you typically won't see from the ground unless you have somebody actually go up on the roof and check that kind of stuff. Missing shingles and flashing at a gable, you know, again, difficult to see unless you're actually get up there with a ladder or stand back away from it and looking at it with the binoculars. Here's some tile. You've got some mortar here, some roofing mortar that's, you know, that's breaking down. Ideally, it should look like this. It shouldn't be breaking up like this. You can see here how it's popped out. Insulation ducting. We see this a lot in the attic where, say, for example, you know, typically with recessed lights, those are additional. And so what probably happened on this home is that they had purchased recessed lighting and they weren't installed. And then when they went through the walkthrough, they said, hey, you know, we were supposed to have recessed lighting in here. And so what they did was they just pulled this insulation back, installed the recessed lighting, and then didn't push it back. So you lose a lot of energy efficiency here when you have missing insulation like this. Like I said, I've been in homes, new construction, where the whole attic is missing insulation. They just forgot to do it. Inadequate insulation. So here they were supposed to have 10.75 inches on the data plate, and they only had 6 inches. So just a little more than half of what they were supposed to have. Here you can see where we're pulling back the foil. This is a connection on the return, and you can see the gap here. So what they should have done is they should have glued this prior to putting the ducting in. You got to disconnect the duct here. Again, that's just something that you really have to pay attention to. You know, just not cool enough. So, you know, this has got a desk on it, but when we're running the air conditioner, we're not getting a proper airflow or cooling through the ducting. Some structural items. These are always my favorite. You know, we will see shrinkage cracks, you know, on new construction, because when the concrete cures, it will crack. You know, but it's okay to have it every once in a while in certain areas. But if you have it consistently around different areas, I mean, look at this right here. This is a foundation wall where they've just come in here and they've just patched this damaged foundation. This is just a poor foundation wall pour. Foundation cracks, again, you can see here where they've tried to seal it with expandable foam. On a new construction, you should not have this type of stuff. This is the excessive brick overhang where the bricklayers basically, I don't know if the wall was not plumbed properly or measured up properly, but the brick overhang, you can see here where it goes past the knuckles. Here we see this quite a bit where plumbers will come in afterwards and they basically will cut the floor joists to make their stuff fit. You know, it still baffles my mind just to, you know, think what they're thinking when they're cutting that to make their piping work. And again, sometimes this gets missed because you have a building inspector, a city building inspector will come out at different phases of the build. And he might have come out and done the inspection on the framing and then signed off on it. And then the plumbers came in and cut it afterwards. And so sometimes this gets missed. We see this on older construction as well. A lot of times in the crawl spaces where they've run new plumbing and they just start notching holes in the, you know, I don't, like I said, I don't know if they just quite don't understand what they're doing or what if they don't understand the structural integrity of these, but that just, you basically just eliminated that floor joist. Here's another one that was cut. You can see here, both sides. Every time I've seen this before where they ran a pipe. I was down in an unfinished basement. They ran this pipe and they cut holes about 8 inches in circular through every one of those floor joists. And I called it out, and the builder was just livid. He's like, "No, we can do that." I said, "No, you can't. You cannot cut every one of those 8 inches. They have knockouts on these that allow you to pop out the proper width, and it's not big enough to cut the, to let these run through it." Here's some defective floor joists where you can see that's been deteriorated. It might have been sitting out in the water too much, or they just notched it, but this one would have to be replaced or reinforced. Here you can see that they didn't use any truss hangers. So basically you'd have a metal bracket that would go all the way around. And here they've just nailed this in. I don't even know if they can't even tell if they nailed it. But on the next one, you're going to see this would be a truss hanger. And you can see on this one, it was too short. So they've got to go all the way up. This one's too short. They used the wrong one. And they also missed some holes. You got to have a nail in every one of those holes. Here you've got the cross bracing not properly installed. We see that quite a bit on new construction. It's just plain crazy. So here's some pictures. We're getting close. This class is a pretty quick class. There's not a lot of stuff on it. So if you were expecting an hour and a half, you're going to be out of here a little bit earlier. But this is some new construction that somebody sent me from down south. I think this is down in Atlanta. But you just wonder, what were they thinking when they did this driveway? I mean, that's a pretty high, lifted truck to where you would be able to, just to get into the garage, you're barely clearing the bottom of the truck. So new inspection of new homes. So you've got a couple different types of inspections. We don't do a lot of phased inspections down here. Basically, phased inspections are where you can hire a home inspector and they can come out during different phases of the build. We personally don't do them just because, one, we don't get paid a lot for them, so it's not really worth our time to go out and do it. A lot of companies, a lot of banks will hire inspectors that do this type of work because before they release funds, because the bank doesn't just say, "Here's all the money." They basically will release it as they get to a certain extent. So with this one, you've got the phase inspection, inspection during different construction, after the foundation pour, before backfilling, etc., before they put the sheetrock in. So this is the best way to uncover construction defects. Again, we don't do that, but a lot of banks have contracts with inspectors that will do these phase inspections. And they basically just tell you when you need to go out there, and the inspector has a list of stuff that they're going to cover, and then they will report back to the bank. And so a lot of times the builders give you the cold shoulder. So inspectors are not welcome on the building site. So sometimes you have challenges with these phase inspections. It also might not be in the contract that you're allowed on site. And then this also has to be set up and cleared at contract stage. So your inspector will be visiting at the site at various stages specified in the contract. So if you do have what's called phase inspections, you would want to make sure that that's in the contract, so you are able to do that during the build. So if you do get the cold shoulder by the builder and you're having issues, there are different options that you can go through. One is called a 30-day inspection. They call it a PDI. The inspector and clients will do a walkthrough inspection 30 days after they have taken possession for document defects to forward to the builder. So with that, you can go in after you've moved in. Some builders will actually recommend doing that because you have a 12-month warranty, and some of them will ask you to, we'll come back and fix any defects after you've moved in, because people are going to bang the walls, they're going to scratch up flooring, and so that way, after they've come in, then they can come in and fix that stuff. With that type of inspection, if they do not let you come in before, because we are seeing that quite a bit now on new construction, where the builders are basically trying to limit the home inspector, the third-party inspector, by requiring ridiculous amounts of E&O insurance, liability insurance. I've even seen them require $1 million policy on the car that the inspector drives. And so they're trying to limit these third-party inspections. If you ever run into that, just say, fine, we'll do a 30-day after this. This type of inspection can be followed up by the 11-month inspection to documenting any all outstanding defects before the 12-month warranty expires. So we do get a lot of people that have bought a home and they call us to come out during the 11th month to do an inspection, and then they can take that inspection and provide that with the builder before their warranty expires. And that leads us into the warranty inspection. These are not as effective as phase inspections, but it's worthwhile and necessary to fulfill warranty claims within the allowable reporting periods. Also, the inspector will get at areas you may not be able to see. So for example, if you do a warranty inspection, you may not know what you're looking for up in an attic, for example. The report creates a punch list of things for the builder to fix. So basically, when they have the warranty inspection, the inspector comes out, does the inspection, provides the report. They can take that report back to the builder and have the builder fix before the warranty expires. And then also no issues with site access as you have already taken possession. So again, if they're not letting you on site prior to close, then you can do these type of inspections afterwards. So you as a real estate agent, we're going to go through this really quickly here. What information did you learn that will allow you to better assist your clients? So hopefully this information was useful on some of the stuff that we're typically seeing during new home construction. New strategies you're used as results of this course. For example, I would say the biggest takeaway would be doing the inspection prior to close on a new construction. What are some of the hurdles that you're going to run into? What are some of the stuff that the builders are going to require? We've got one scheduled for next week in San Juan Capistrano, where basically the builder wants us to sign a waiver that if we get hurt on site, that we're not going to sue them. That's the only thing that I've seen come across. Some builders are really particular on what they want done and filled out. Some builders will send a general contractor to shadow you. It just really depends on who the builder is. And then what recommendations will you make to clients considering purchasing of a new home? I know I've been on some of these Facebook forums, and some of these new construction builders are limiting the what is it, 1%? Some of them are going to on your commissions. So that's not, I'm sure that's not making a lot of realtors happy with that 1% on some of these new construction. And unfortunately, with supply and demand, with the demand out there right now, they're able to do that. Unfortunately, when it comes down to where the time is going to be slow, it's probably they're going to be begging you to come back and show their homes, but they're going to have quite a few agents that are going to say no way. So that's it for this class. This is an actually pretty short class. So if you have any questions or you want this deck or this PDF, feel free to contact us. Our website is signaturemore.com. We have a lot of information about our company on there. We have some trusted professionals that we have on there. I'm constantly adding blog posts to it. So if you have any questions about home inspections, if you ever need to schedule a home inspection, you can schedule it on our website, or you can call our office at 888-860-2688. If you want a copy of this presentation, you can email me at scott@signaturemore.com. Again, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to check the chats to see if I got any questions here. Let's see. Looks like nobody has any questions. So if you guys don't have any questions, I'll go ahead and end this class. We're out of here early, so 40 minutes. This one doesn't take quite as long as the other ones. We do have some classes. I think we teach a class every month for OCR. So we've got classes on managing the home inspection. We've got classes on mold. We've got classes on this one, the new homes. I think we've also got some on electrical and plumbing. So we've got a variety of classes. So check back with this. I don't recall which one we teach next month, but if you feel like this class will be helpful, come back and take another class with us. So that's it. I'll let everybody go. Thank you.